Hi, today we're going to be working with the first certificate of English listening test part 1. Let us begin. What you need to know about this test is that it has 8 short unrelated extracts that might be monologues or conversations. You're going to get some information about the situation, so you get to know the context, and then you're going to get a direct question. You have multiple choice answers, and you're going to hear each extract twice. This exercise was created to test your understanding on the agreement, opinion, purpose, detail, attitude, keys, relationship, among others. The tips. The first one, understand distraction. Okay, you need to be focused, but actually these exercises are created to distract you, mislead you. But there's a really easy strategy to actually avoid that. First of all, you need to underline the keywords. Then you need to keep in mind that all possible answers may be mentioned, and according to my experience, 90% of the times they are mentioned. You need to listen for the words that mean the same as the ones that you underlined. You need to look for the same idea. Listen to the right person. Remember that there might be conversations, and so you just need to focus on the person that the question, is asking about. For example, you hear a man talking about buying a bicycle. What most attracted him to this bike? Well, here for sure you should underline the part of buying a bicycle and most attracted. Focus on that. Of course, you also notice that you're talking about man or him. So if it's a monologue, that's quite easy. If it's a conversation, focus on the man. And you also need to keep in mind the 3 options: special features, condition, and price. Let's move on to the exercise. In this case, you need to write down certain things. You're going to read the transcript, and what you're going to write down are the ideas, the sentences, or the sentence, or the words, or the phrases that actually supports or mentions each one of the options, A, B, or C. By doing so, you're going to discover which one is actually your correct answer. But you need to have the others there written down just to notice why they are not the answer. So please pause the video in this moment for you to do the exercise. Great, you have finished. These are the things that you should have written. The price, because it seemed a bit high to me. It was just an ordinary bike, really nothing remarkable. Or it obviously being very well looked after. It was a few years old, but you really couldn't tell. And you for sure related them to the letter C, A, and B. By now, you know that your answer is letter B, and that's correct. Obviously, the most attractive thing about this bicycle, it was that it looked almost as new. You should have discarded letter C and A because even though they are mentioning in C the part of price, well, the opinion of this person, it was that the bike was quite expensive, and in A, well, quite the opposite. Instead of having special features, he mentioned that it didn't have absolutely any. Let's do another exercise similar to the previous one. In this case, I would like you to write down the questions and the options and follow exactly the process. Underline the keywords and then read the transcript. In this case, you're going to choose the words, phrases, or sentence that support your answer, the one that you think is the correct one. And you also need to find the words, phrases, or sentences that mention the other options, but actually are leading you to know that they are not the answer. Again, pause the video so you can actually do this exercise. Great, you have finished. So for sure you chose this thing. In the first one, a shop assistant, because you have there, I'm just doing a few hours here on Saturday, well, leading us to think that it's just a part-time job. However, a manager is mentioned in this word, which is boss. Probably it's not that direct, but it is there. Anyway, we can discard that option because we're talking about my boss. So the boss of this person, not a manager of the shop. And then a customer. Customer is mentioned here about the father going there quite often to buy things. In number 2, well, the answer was quite straightforward. You have here, I've just got on the bus, which is there, on the bus. However, in a bookshop, it has already been mentioned that she had gone there and that she was going back there. And also at home, well, essentially by home, that on her way home, she discovered that she had made a mistake. There's another tip to mention here. Don't choose your answer until you've heard the whole text at least once. So yes, sometimes we think that they are quite easy, or, we're not paying enough attention. Or we choose just the first option because, it's the first thing that we hear. Anyway, please do not choose your answer until you have finished the whole extract. It just takes a couple of seconds. After doing so, just choose your answer and listen to the second time to confirm it. And obviously, another strategy here, by the way, is that if you're not really sure about your answers, you can start discarding them. Exactly like that. This is not because this person is mentioning that, okay? And by discarding, you can also choose the correct answer. Let's do another exercise. Please copy down the question and the options, and of course, underline the keywords, and please pause the video before we start with the audio. Great, so you have finished copying and you have already underlined your keywords. So now you're going to listen to the audio twice, and then I'm going to give you a little bit more of time for another instruction.
Test 1. Listening Part 1. Training.
Well, I would have given you a ring, but there was something wrong with the battery in my mobile. It was really annoying because I was expecting a call from Emily and I've lost her number, so I can't call her back.
It doesn't matter. It was probably getting quite late by then anyway.
Well, actually, I was going to call you when I got home last night. I didn't think you'd mind how late it was, really. But I couldn't find the spare battery I'd left somewhere in my room, so I couldn't do that either.
Test 1. Listening Part 1. Training.
Well, I would have given you a ring, but there was something wrong with the battery in my mobile. It was really annoying because I was expecting a call from Emily and I've lost her number, so I can't call her back.
It doesn't matter. It was probably getting quite late by then anyway.
Well, actually, I was going to call you when I got home last night. I didn't think you'd mind how late it was, really. But I couldn't find the spare battery I'd left somewhere in my room, so I couldn't do that either.
So now for sure you have your answer. Please circle it, write it down, okay? And the thing that I want you to do right now is to write down why that's your answer and why the other options were not. So try to remember the words that you heard and write them down to justify why your answer is correct and why the others are incorrect. So please pause the video in this moment before we continue. Great. So now, let's see if you chose correctly. The answer was letter C. Actually, she mentioned something about her battery in her phone broken down and that she couldn't find the spare one at home. She also mentioned something about not knowing the number of a friend, but obviously a different friend. And she also mentions the other option about calling him late, but knowing that he wouldn't mind actually receiving that call that late at night. So that's all for the tips and the practice of these first steps for the listening part 1. I'm going to add a link if you want to keep practicing in the box below so you can find more exercise as this one. Goodbye!